The room I use as my office is severely lacking in storage space, so I decided to make a bookshelf to solve this issue. I started by getting some 2x4s and cutting them into 4 6-foot posts to begin making the frames for the shelf. I used a tape measure to mark out 6 feet and made a straight line with a speed square. Then I cut it to length on the miter saw. After I cut the first one, I used that as a template to cut the others so they were all identical. Once those were done, I cut 4 15-inch pieces for the tops and bottoms of the frames, using the same technique as before to get identical pieces. With the pieces for the frame cut, I ran everything through the planer to get the faces nice and smooth. Then took them over to the table saw where I added a 30-degree bevel to one side of all the pieces to add what I thought would be a nice aesthetic to the project. Next I drilled pocket holes, lots and lots of pocket holes to join everything together. Adding a liberal amount of glue, I clamped everything together, drove in my pocket screws and added countersunk screws to the butt joints to reinforce them. I also drilled 2 holes at the top, and you'll see why later. Moving on, I cut 6 12-inch runners that actually hold up the shelves themselves and drilled, you guessed it, more pocket holes. I drilled holes in the bottoms of each one to be able to attach the shelves with screws later. Then I persuaded everything into place with my mallet and some spacers. With the 2 side frames done and assembled, it's time to make the shelves themselves. Using the same process as before, I cut one shelf to length at 3 feet and then used that as a template to cut the others, making 5 in total. After running these through the planer, I sanded the sides smooth with a sander. Now it's on to my favorite part of this whole build, where I get to play with fire. Using a torch, I highlighted the grain on both frames in their entirety to create a heavy contrast. For the shelves, I really wanted to take advantage of what Shou Sugi Ban could do and chose to only torch the center of each board. This way I can highlight the grain and maintain that contrast and make everything really pop. I wiped everything down with a rag and then proceeded to stain the frames with a rich Kona dark brown color. For the shelves, I chose a gold pecan stain to give them a warmer yet still light tone to contrast the frames. To finish them, I did 2 coats of a water-based satin polyurethane. Then it was onto the wondrous task of hauling all these pieces up to my apartment by myself. Once I had everything upstairs, it's finally time to attach the shelves. I used a 2-inch piece of scrap wood attached to the end of the shelf to make sure they're spaced out evenly. Then I drilled pilot holes using the holes I drilled earlier in the top of the frame and attached them with screws. Finally, I attached some felt pads to the bottom. All that's left now is to drag it into the room and get it set up. I ended up only attaching 2 of the shelves and just letting the others sit freely on the frame, which seemed to work out fine. And with that, the shelf is done. I am so happy with how this came out. The contrast between the light and dark grain colors is really beautiful, and I finally have a place to display all my stuff and have it look good. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this design and how you think it could have been better. And as always, remember, make moves, not excuses.